Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Viking Spin. I'm your host Jason, and today we're going to talk about a few things the newly released Viking schedule for 2017 for the regular season. Came out last night, and so we're going to break that down. We're also going to do uh, another mock draft, our latest one. This one will not feature any trades. We're going to do probably one last one before the actual draft, and that one will have trades in it. But just wanted to see what we could come up with here if the Vikings just stand pat and don't move up or down. But let's first get to a couple of quick hitters, and then we'll break down the schedule. The Vikings last week have reported back for the off-season program. So they are back in the facility doing some late training exercises and basically just getting everyone back in the building for that. Looks like Mike Zimmer is finally getting to the point where his eye will not be a problem anymore. It's a several step process of what he was going through with his eye. But that seems to be getting better now, and we wish Mike Zimmer all the best in his recovery from that. And with that, I will get right to the 2017 schedule for the regular season. The Vikings are going to they're going to kick off the regular season opening up on Monday Night Football at home, and they'll be taking on the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints, they've got Drew Brees. We know about their passing attack. But the thing that makes me confident about this game is, we played those guys a couple of years ago when we were lesser of a team, and Mike Zimmer was able to limit the Saints' offense. The Saints' defense last season was the worst defense in the NFL against the pass. So, with the moves that we made up front in getting some better protection for Sam Bradford with the signings of Riley Reif and Mike Remmers at the tackle spots, and I'm sure that we're going to draft another offensive lineman for the interior coming up here. I see us being able to move the ball pretty well against the Saints, and we should be able to get to Breeze and limit his effectiveness. And we're going to have the home field advantage that night, which will be big. So I'm pretty confident there in our ability to come out with a win in the opening game. Then the next week we're going to have a tough one. We've got to travel to Pittsburgh and play the Steelers at their place. That's September 17th, week 2. That's a Sunday game at noon. The first game was actually on 9/11. The third week we're playing. We're gonna come back home and play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on September 24th. It's a Sunday game at noon. Jameis Winston will be coming to town, and we'll see former Viking Josh Robinson in the Tampa Bay secondary. And then the following week we'll be staying at home. October 1st, that is going to be week 4. We're home against the Detroit Lions, so our first division game of the year. That's a Sunday game at noon. And then the following week, week 5, that is going to be October 9th, and that is another Monday night game. So our second game there in the first 5 weeks in prime time, Monday Night Football at the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field, Monday night. And then week 6, we come back home, October 15th. We're going to play the Green Bay Packers, Sunday game at noon. And then week 7, we remain at home. Another Sunday game at noon. We're playing the Baltimore Ravens, October 22nd, in week 7. And then in week 8, we go to London. We knew we were going to play in London It's considered an away game. The Browns are considered the home team for that. Um, that is going to be the third. Uh, I would, televised game, nationally televised game. That's going to be actually showing on Sunday morning because of the time zone difference. So it's 8:30 a.m. Central Time when we take on the Cleveland Browns. And then you couldn't ask for a better scenario after that. The Vikings get a mid-season bye in Week 9. That's pretty much considered the perfect time for it, especially coming back from London. They will be able to catch their breath and get a week off after that. And maybe get over the jet lag. And then Week 10, they are going to play at Washington at the Redskins field there. That's November 12th, a Sunday game at noon. And then Week 11, they come back to Minnesota on November 19th, a Sunday game at noon, playing the Los Angeles Rams. And then on November 23rd, which is Thanksgiving, once again, they will be playing at the Detroit Lions. Another nationally televised game for us, so that being the fourth so far. And that's going to be 11:30 a.m. So keeping the tradition there on Thanksgiving for the second year in a row. And then Week 13, we've got December 3rd. They'll actually be playing 5 games in December. It's going to be Week 13 at the Atlanta Falcons in their new stadium, Sunday game at noon. And then December 10th, which is Week 14, on the road again against Carolina, Sunday at noon. And then Week 15, back home in Minnesota to take on Mike Zimmer's former team, the Cincinnati Bengals. That's also a Sunday game at noon. And then Week 16, December 23rd, so the day before Christmas Eve, that's on a Saturday, at Green Bay. And then the final regular season game will be December 31st, New Year's Eve, in Minnesota, Chicago Bears, Sunday at noon. So, breaking this down, what I see here is the Vikings have, in the first half of the season, the first 8 games, they have 5 home games. So they're at home quite a bit in the first half of the season. The second half of the season, there's 5 road games. What was nice about December is the only cold weather game we have is the one at Green Bay. The other road games are at Atlanta, which is inside in the dome, and then at Carolina, which is obviously not going to be cold. So I think we did pretty well with that. And then just looking at this pre-draft, just going based on the moves that everyone has made in free agency so far, I can see 10 or 11 wins on this. I'm going to go with the losses. I'd probably see, I see us in our division splitting with Detroit and Green Bay and sweeping Chicago. Time to put the big boy pants on and sweep the Bears. Beat them in Soldier Field. I think we can do that. So I say 4-2 in the division, and then I see the other losses would be probably the at Atlanta game. That would be the 3rd loss. At Pittsburgh is the 4th loss. And I would say either at Washington or at Carolina. They could both be losses. It could be 10-6 there. If they play up to the maximum potential, maybe they take one of those games. Probably take the Carolina game because Mike Zimmer seems to have Cam Newton figured out the last 2 times we've played them. It doesn't matter where we've played them, we've beaten them. So I would say anywhere from 10 wins and 6 losses to 11 wins and 5 losses. I have no doubt that we could beat the Saints. Tampa Bay in Minnesota doesn't scare me. Baltimore does not scare me. I have no doubt we're going to beat the worst team in football, the Cleveland Browns. The Rams are pretty terrible. I have no doubt that we can beat them. Cincinnati doesn't scare me. So, yeah, I'm seeing about 10 or 11 wins so far here pre-draft. We'll see how the draft goes for each team. Maybe we'll move the needle a little bit, but I don't think it's going to move it all that much. So I'm going to stick with 10 and 6 as my prediction. So with that, I will go to the mock draft here that we've prepared without trades. Rick Spielman hasn't really had drafts where he hasn't traded, so that's why we're going to do another one later this week with trades. But sometimes on the fanspeak.com it can get a little crazy, or more so on firstpick.com. There's so many mocks out there, and sometimes they get a little crazy with the trades. But I think there'll probably be one or two to improve positioning a little bit. But let's go with just standing pat here and see what we come up with. So we're going to go through that here in the second round. The 16th pick overall in the second round, we're going to go with Taylor Moton, guard/tackle out of Western Michigan. So let's get the little sound effect here for that. Alright. So Taylor Moton's the pick. He can come in right away and start at right guard, and he's also good enough to play tackle, so he, in a sense, becomes the backup right tackle in case there is an injury. And it might be more advantageous to slide him over to tackle and get Searles off the bench to play guard than it would be to go to a backup tackle. I believe Rashad Hill is pretty much like a left tackle, so I'm not sure how much experience he has over on the right side. But Moton sort of kills two birds with one stone there. And now we go to the third round, 15th pick overall. In the third round, we go with Marcus May, safety out of Florida. Marcus May is just as proficient in the box as he is in coverage, so he would really allow Mike Zimmer to use Harrison Smith in a variety of ways, and that's a tone setter there in the defense. Really sure tackler. As I've said before, we've talked about Marcus May. I'm just really impressed with his technique and form tackling. He's one of those guys. He wraps up, he sweep the legs. He doesn't, go in there too high and get dragged. He knows what he's doing when it comes to tackling. So that would upgrade the strong safety spots, and then that also improves the depth because now Sendeo becomes your third safety. So let's go for the sound effect here again with Marcus May. Alright. And staying in the third round and staying at the University of Florida, we grab his teammate, linebacker Alex Anzalone. Anzalone is a linebacker that can play all three positions in the 4-3. He can play the will, he can play the middle, he can play the Sam. So he's going to play the will for us. And he is an outstanding linebacker who 6'3", 245 pounds. He runs and tackles. He can cover tight ends and backs. A really fast, physical linebacker, and we're happy to get him there at the 22nd pick of the third round. All right, now on to the fourth round. We are going to dip into Oklahoma, and we get the bruising running back Samaje Perine. Samaje Perine, he is a battering ram. We've got Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon. Murray is kind of the do-it-all back. He's got good speed, good power. McKinnon is a scat back, speed back, and Perine is just one of those guys that he reminds me of Matt Asiata, but he's faster than Matt Asiata, but probably even more powerful, able to break even more tackles. I mean, this guy is just an absolute bowling ball, and when you need that yard or two, definitely Perine will go and get it for you. So Perine is the pick there for that first selection of the fourth round. And staying at Oklahoma, we're going to go for another Sooner here. We were going for his teammate D.D. Westbrook, wide receiver / return specialist. D.D. can return kicks and punts, but he is also a really proficient wide receiver, a deep threat. Ran a 4.34 40. That would make him our fastest wide receiver, even faster than Diggs and Thielen, and those guys are definitely not slow. So this is a speed demon. He's going to take the top off the defense with as a vertical threat. A nice thing about Westbrook too is, in addition to being a deep threat, he's not afraid to go over the middle, and he's a good route runner. So I'd say it's something that the Vikings have been looking for, and Zimmer's been talking about getting a field stretcher. So that's what D.D. Westbrook is, and he is the pick there with the second pick of the fourth round. Okay, and on to the fifth round. We go to Toledo, and we grab Michael Roberts, a tight end. Roberts is basically a touchdown maker. He is a red zone threat. So we would have a similar player to Kyle Rudolph that we have right now. Michael Roberts, 6'4", 270 pounds. So he's a big tight end. He can block as well. He's one of the better blocking tight ends in this draft. And a lot of times with tight ends, they can either block, and they're not very good in the pass receiving game, or they're really good pass receivers, but they don't block very well. Roberts kind of gives you a little bit of both. So he's a balanced tight end, and like I said, he was a touchdown machine at Toledo. So he's definitely someone that Vikings can use in the red zone in multiple tight end sets. Him and Rudolph on the field together at the same time should cause a lot of matchup problems and make Sam Bradford a happy quarterback. So Roberts is the pick. Okay, double sound effect there. And now on to the sixth round. We address the defensive tackle spot, and we go with DJ Jones out of Mississippi. Jones is a guy that could back up Linval Joseph. He's a nose tackle. He's able to play nose tackle and 3 technique, but he is primarily a run stuffer, which is what we need because we have pass rushing guys in Tom Johnson, and I'm sure they're going to use Tony Jones in that capacity. Brian Robinson they use like that. So DJ Jones would be more of the run stuffer, and you can line him up next to Linval in the goal line defense, or if you're really looking to stop the run. So DJ Jones is the pick there in the 6th. And then the final pick there of the draft, 7th round, we're going to go with the guy that the Vikings have been scouting. He's a little bit of an underrated prospect. He's also out of Toledo. It's Trayvon Hester, a defensive tackle. He is a three technique who excels both against the run and the pass. Just got to be a little bit more consistent at the point of attack, but he's definitely somebody that Zimmer and Patterson and Edwards can work with. They've done outstanding work with mid-round defensive linemen, late-round defensive linemen. So I trust them here with Hester, and that gives us two defensive tackles out of the draft to address the hole that is probably being created here with Sharif Floyd's career-threatening injury. So we loaded up there with a couple players. So Trayvon Hester is the final pick. All right. So that was our no trades draft, mock draft there. And like I said, we've gone over the schedule. The Vikings are back in the facility again, training. So things are definitely taking off. I would say after the draft is complete, you're going to see them go for the priority undrafted free agents. Probably going to sign several of those guys that they like. There are some players that might slip past the draft. There's some developmental type quarterbacks like maybe somebody like Cooper Rush, who I like, that might slip out of there. There's other guys like maybe Chunky Clements, another three technique, pass rushing three technique, could slip out of there. So I think there will be some halfway decent undrafted free agents out there to give a shot to. At worst you can maybe find somebody for the practice squad, or you never know. Sometimes they surprise you and they can compete for a roster spot. They've been overlooked for whatever reason. But that's going to be coming up, and then also the post-draft free agency, veteran free agents out there. It'll be interesting to see if the Vikings, they were kicking the tires on wide receiver Rod Streeter, so it'll be interesting to see if they go back to that. If the Vikings were also looking for a swing tackle, like I've mentioned, Austin Pastor is out there, and I also expect them to take a look. I just have a hunch that they're gonna take a long look at Leon Hall, the veteran cornerback out there, that could come in and play nickel. He's also got experience outside cornerback and at safety, and he knows Mike Zimmer's defense from being with Cincinnati Bengals for several years. So would not be surprised to see if he's brought in post-draft. But we'll see what happens with all of that. That's pretty much all we have for today. I thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.